Hello, YouTube. So I wasn't sure whether I was going to make this video or not. As many of you know, I'm about to fly back to the United States for work for who knows how long. I really don't know yet. It depends on whether I like this job or not. It depends on whether it's a good opportunity or not. But I'm leaving Ecuador. I'm not leaving Ecuador for good, and I think neighbors' dogs are barking. I'm not leaving Ecuador for good. And I think based on the comments I got on my last couple of videos, I think some people don't understand that. I wasn't clear. I'm not selling this farm that I'm sitting on right now. This is the farm out in the Amazon jungle, and I'm not selling my main farm up in the mountains, about an hour from the airport and an hour from the capital. Those I'm keeping. Those are investments. I'm saving those for my retirement because when I retire, I want to come back to Ecuador. I put a lot of work into this, and I love this place. I'm not giving up. I am going to try to sell two other properties. I've got one, got a piece of land out in Canoa that I started building what was going to be a 12-unit apartment complex on. Did a lot of, I spent more on the engineering and building the foundation and the columns than I did on the land. And I really engineered it and built it right to be a 3-story apartment complex in an earthquake zone. And sure enough, we had a big earthquake back in 2016. We had the 7.8 earthquake that pretty much wiped out tourism and investment in that area for the time being. It's rebounded, but I lost my interest in it, and I never picked it back up. Personally, I don't think it's ideal for building my original plans. I don't think it should be a 3-story apartment complex. I think it makes more sense as I would say a luxury home for somebody that wants a house that's been over-engineered and extra safe in an earthquake zone, and they want to live in Ecuador near the ocean. It's on the main road. It's not beachfront. I try to avoid beachfront because I think with climate change and all, if you're like me and you believe in that, the ocean's going to rise and it's going to wipe a lot of stuff out. So it's back a ways from the ocean, about a 5 to 7 minute walk, and about a 5-minute walk into the center of the town of Canoa, just north on the main road. And hopefully I can find a buyer for it, but I do expect to take a loss. I'm all, I spent $45,000 on the engineering and the construction of that first floor. Probably overpaid a little bit. I got to acknowledge that I may have taken advantage of a little bit on that. The other piece of land that I want to sell is 225 acres, 91 hectares of cloud forest. Very, very, very remote, like 2-hour walk remote. Hello. I'm out here in the Amazon jungle, 30 minutes south of Tena and about 5 minutes from Manitola on my new farm, the big farm. And I'm out here to meet a guy named Augustine, one of my neighbors, just up the road, because he wants to work on my farm. And I think he can help me out a lot. I think it'll be a mutually beneficial relationship to have Augustine working on the farm and keeping an eye on things. But again, so the little house back there, it's not, at least for like Western people, for expats, it's not habitable. It meets the standards of like the local farm workers for a place to sleep for the night, but there's no bathroom, there's no kitchen. It's just a 2-room wooden box. And before I get someone to work out here on a regular basis, someone to volunteer or to work, to be a caretaker that is an expat, if I go that route, if I meet the right person, before I do that, I need to build a little cabin out here that is more habitable. I need to build a place that's got internet and running water and a bathroom and a kitchen. I need to basically build it the way I would want if I were out here volunteering for a month or two, or with a paid gig. And when I say paid gig, understand that anyone that might volunteer to work out here or offer their services, you're competing against the locals. So when I say paid gig, I don't expect a lot of hours, but I do want someone out here to watch the place. I also don't expect to pay a lot because I don't have to. Just the economics, the reality out here. We're in a drought. We're in a really bad drought, but things are still looking okay. Let's see if you can see this. Let's spin the camera around. See those coconuts up there? Yeah. Coconut trees are doing good. And most things are doing good in spite of the drought. I think I'm getting just enough rain, just enough water that nothing's dying. Let's go look at some of the plants that I left here, planted out here recently. I planted some portón, which is, it's got many different names. Portón is the name in Ecuador. It is a bean tree. It is a tree that grows these huge, delicious beans. Let's see. Looks like one of my portón is gone and the other is struggling. The other is, it's right there, and it's died back a little. It's not looking too good. It might not make it. Let's see if I can find the first one I planted out here. I noticed last time I came out, something had bit it right in the stem where it came up. Yeah, it was here. It is gone. First portón is gone. I planted it right there. It's gone. Second one is struggling. Talking to other folks, especially William out at Yachana Foundation, they'd mentioned that they really needed to wrap their portón in some sort of protective like screen to prevent the insects from devouring it while it's young. It's delicious. Every part of the plant is edible. Speaking of edible, take a look at that. Speaking of edible, so everything eats it because it's delicious. And that means out here in the Amazon jungle, it has a hard time surviving. If I can get it tall, if I can get it big and strong, it'll make it. But I gotta get past its early days where it's very vulnerable. Let's take a look under the house. Old wheelbarrow here. Checking for ají, for hot peppers. I've got some little green ones, nothing ripe. I've got this big pepper plant here growing underneath the house for whatever reason, but nothing is ripe. Too bad. I love those peppers. They're super hot, super hot. And then over here, I've got a couple ponds that my intention is for these to become tilapia ponds, but I need to clean them out a little bit. They're kind of full of silt at the moment. They've been neglected. So spin the camera around. This pond, and there is another much drier pond below. These two ponds, it's full of mud and silt. If I clean this out, it'll be a lot deeper, but right now there's not much going on there. I've got some bamboo over there. Everywhere throughout this property, there's sugar cane. This is sugar cane. I have more than I want. Here is a coconut that I planted recently. This property is about 33 acres, just under 14 hectares. Let's take another look at these coconut trees. Do you see what I see? Do you see all these coconuts on this tree? Look at that. I'm gonna have a lot of coconuts eventually. It's dry right now and they're growing slow. I've got about, I don't know, five coconut trees out here, not counting the one I recently planted. I've also got a lot of banana, a lot of citrus trees, but the main deal with this property, so about 33 acres, about half of it is what's called monte, which is just a mountain covered in, it's not native forest, it's secondary forest, but a mountain covered in secondary forest with a little river, a little stream at the bottom of it. And the other half is like this. What you see here, a mixture of fruit trees, and this is lemongrass, just a eclectic mix of plants, and big areas of grass. So the previous owner, his main business was raising cattle. And he had several acres, several hectares of grass that he grazed his cattle on. And my concept, my idea is to take that grassland and plant it in a mixture of balsa, teak. I want to do some cardamom. I'm not sure how to say it in cardamom. Say it in English anymore. I know the Spanish word, cardamom. And basically, I want to reforest it, but I want to reforest it in a way that is useful, that provides some wealth over time, because my concept, my idea, there's an insect just circling me. My concept, my idea over time is to develop a way to use land that has been degraded, like this was in the Amazon, in a way that is more responsible, growing balsa and teak and other wood crops instead of grassland for cattle, basically reforesting it. It's not perfect. It's not a native forest, but using it in a way that is more responsible and generating enough money that I can continue to buy up other pieces of property, other farms that are similarly degraded and being used for cattle, and converting them to something that is much more responsible. This is my idea. This is my dream. This is my little house. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how it's going to work out. It's worth a shot. Fly, get out of here. The other property that I would love to sell, I would love to find someone that's like me and wants to protect it. When I first came to Ecuador, I bought 225 acres, 91 hectares of very remote cloud forest. And I mean, it's a 2-hour walk and like a scramble at the end, a climb to get into this place. It's risen in value substantially because gold's been found in the area. And while most people might think awesome, to me that's a curse. All it did was raise my taxes and cause the area to be less secure because there's gold mining mafias and that sort of shit in the area. So I've got that other property to sell. I don't know how I'm going to sell it. I probably am not. I'm probably going to just hang on to it for another 20 years, just sitting on it, paying the taxes. Who knows? But the main two farms I'm keeping. I'm going to the United States. I'm going to work. I'm going to try to get my kids through school there, and then I'm going to come back. That's the plan. All right, I'm breathing hard. I just hiked back from Augustine's farm. He wanted to show me around his farm. He's got 120 hectares, which is, I think, over 300 acres, or about 300 acres. So it was exhausting hiking around his farm, and he really wanted to show me more than I wanted to look at. I couldn't keep up. I couldn't hack it in this heat, hiking up and down and all over his farm. But I think it's going to work out. Looks like I like what he's done with his place. He gave me some good advice. He seems pretty down to earth. I mean, time will tell, but he seems like a good guy. So I'm going to hire him to work on my little farm here part-time. And then after all that, I came out here and planted some stuff. This little plant right there that looks like corn is not corn. That is Job's tears, known in Spanish as trigo tropical. Trigo means wheat, but it is not a wheat. It's a type of grass that has these real large, high-protein seeds that I can use for animal feed. You can eat them also, but they're a lot of work to process. And then in some different spots, can't really see it down there, but I planted some papaya that probably won't make it. It's probably too hot, too sunny, too dry right now for me to have planted papaya, but I've got a ton of papaya starts at the apartment in Tena, and I needed to do something with them, so I brought them out here to try to plant them. Probably wasted effort, who knows. So anyway, that's what's going on. I have found someone to work on this farm. I have found someone to work on the other farm. Hopefully, the people I have found will actually do what I need them to do and be reliable. Time will tell. And yeah, I think I'm about ready to wrap things up out here in the Amazon jungle on the little farm. And as I said before, head back into the belly of the beast. Head back to the United States to go to work hoping and trusting that my projects out here will be in good hands, so I will have something to return to when I'm ready. Peace out. These dogs totally suck. I really hate the neighbor's dogs. I've been attacked by them before. So I'm trying to get some stuff out of my car, and I don't want to turn my back on this dog to get stuff out of the back of the car, because this dog has attacked me before. He's gone for me before and bit me on the knee. So I'm kind of trying to stand off with him and get him to leave me alone before I turn around. And I don't know if you can see it, but up on this property up here, you probably can't see it because the camera it's too wide an angle lens to see that far in, but there was a naked dude. He kind of popped out of the bushes, looked at me. I think he was making sure I wasn't a thief, that his dogs weren't barking at a thief, and then he just ran off. So, weirdness, weird stuff deep in the Amazon jungle. Screw this dog.